terms, not diagnostic terms. So let's start out with my favorite song. My favorite song is called Go Light Your World, and it begins like this. Have no fear, I am not going to sing. There is a candle within every soul. Some are burning brightly, some are dark and cold. No way! There was a time in my life where my candle of hope had completely burned out. During that time, there was a lot of chaos going on in my brain, and it was making it difficult for me to live in this world. At one point, when things got really, really tough, I barricaded myself in my bedroom. I was not coming out, and no one was coming in. I have a sister. Her name is Rachel. Rachel is always going to be about 11 or 12, emotionally and educationally. She would come downstairs every single day and sit by my bedroom door and stick her hand under the door frame and wiggle her fingers and say these words. Hey, Gina, do you see my hand? Do you see my hand? I know you're not ready to walk into the world just yet, but when you are, I want to walk with you. I wasn't ready, able, or willing to reach out and take Rachel's hands, and things got much, much worse. They had to break down the door. I was rushed to critical care of the hospital. My family, who has been with me through triumphs and struggles, came to visit. And Rachel crawls up onto my hospital bed, turns my face towards hers, and says, Gina, I love you, but I don't understand. Can you help me to understand? Rachel chose not to use any of those shake your finger words. All those words and phrases that when you say it, you can shake your finger at the same time. Gina, you're just lazy. Gina, you're never going to amount to much. Gina, you're just not motivated to get well. Instead, Rachel was seeking to understand me from my perspective. And again, I was unable or unwilling to make that connection. After that came a series of hospital stays. At one point, when things got really, really tough, I was court committed to one hospital for 1 year, directly transferred to a second hospital for a second year, and then directly transferred to Harisonburg State Hospital. After several years in Harisonburg State Hospital, where in my opinion, they used a lot of shake your finger words, I thought, man, this is not the place I want to be. And if they're not going to discharge me, I'm going to create my own discharge plan. So I did. I escaped from Harisonburg State Hospital. Now when you do that, you are considered a missing person. So I lived on the streets for a very brief period of time. If you have never lived on the streets, it's a very different and a very difficult life. So there's all this chaos going on in my brain, and I'm starting to get physically very, very ill. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my goodness, I need a safe place to be. I know, I'll go to my grandmother's house. She lives in the backwoods of West Virginia. I'll hide out there until they have to discharge me. One, because they have to use my hospital bed for another person. Or two, I've been out so long I'd be a liability. Now my mom has told me since I've been about this high, Gina, never, ever, ever take a ride from a stranger. But a trucker said he was going to West Virginia. So I hopped a ride with the trucker, fell asleep in the cab of the truck, and woke up in New York City with what I perceived as a very dangerous man coming after me. And there's that word perception again. So let's talk about it here for a moment. I've got a lot of chaos going on in my brain. I'm physically pretty ill. I'm having experiences outside the consensus reality. And my entire being is filled with fear. And I'm reacting out of that fear. I am literally hitting the streets of New York City, running, screaming, "Help me, God," at the top of my lungs. And right before I passed out, I remember seeing a New York City police officer. Woke up in a New York City hospital. Guess what? You can't be in 2 hospitals at one time. So they decided to discharge me from Harisonburg State. When I was physically able to go home, I still didn't have a lot of hope inside. But when I was physically able to go home, a social worker put me on the bus, and my dad picked me up in Pennsylvania. Now this is many years later. As we are going down the driveway to the family home, there's Rachel, still holding hope for me. She's out on the porch, both hands in the air, going, "My sister's home! My sister's home! My sister's home!" Rachel chose to see something of worth and value in me. Now, Rachel couldn't light my candle of hope for me. All she could do was hold hope out there till I could take my unlit candle, light it off hers, and adopt hope for myself. We can't light other people's candles of hope for them, though I wish we could. But what we can do is what my favorite song said. If you are a hope-filled person, carry your candle, run to the darkness, and light up your world. It is when we light up our environments with hope that people in really deep, dark, and/or desperate places can begin to see other possibilities and pathways for their future. And that's how my husband and I define hope as an acronym. H